But hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Uncle Lander, and this is Silent Hill 2 Remake, a continuation of my very first playthrough of this game. And on the last episode, we have been crashed with a lot of things. We have realized how Mary have actually died. She didn't pass 3 years ago from the disease. It was Sally James who have committed the horrendous act. You also have seen Angela's other world and how she sees the world in her eyes. We also have managed to fight the two pyramid heads, and yeah, basically saw the entire world of decay that have happened and James' understanding of it. But before we're gonna charge into what seems to be, at least according to my eyes, the final stage of the game, this episode, like every other, is being recorded live during my live streams on Twitch. Twitch.tv/UncleLander. Come and say hi. I play a variety of video games. Also doing charity events, genre marathons, modder playthroughs, occasional challenge runs, and hopefully more in the future. Without further ado, let's go up. Let's finish this, guys. Let's finish this. Oh, they pretty much kept it. It pretty much looks the same. Oh, sure, obviously the resolution is different, but the entire room is pretty much the same. The bed is over there, the window, and how the Maria stands over there. It's all the same, which is good, because don't fix something that isn't broken.
Mary? I have missed you so much.
I've missed you too. We can finally be together. Forever.
No.
James.
Interesting twist.
Honey. What's wrong?
I'm sorry. I know you tried,
James, please.
but she's gone. I know that now.
Stop it.
And I can't just keep pretending.
Shut up! What do you want? Do you even know anymore? I'm yours. I'm here for you. So what if I'm not her? I can give you what she never could. I can be better than her. What else do you want me to be? What else can I be?
I am so sorry, Maria. I really am. But this has to stop. It's time to let it go.
No.
What?
I won't let you do this to me. I won't let you go. I can't!
Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's an interesting twist. Oh, she's going spider like a flashlight? She did win flashlight.
James. James. James.
I miss you so much. I tried. I really did, but I can't. I just can't go on without you. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. know this isn't what you would want. But I guess it doesn't matter anymore. You're not here. Are you?
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did. Well, I'm alone there now. In our special place. Waiting for you to come and see me. But you never do. So, I wait, wrapped in my cocoon of pain and loneliness. I know, I've done a terrible thing to you. I wish I could change that, but I can't. I feel so pathetic and ugly laying here. Every day I stare up at the cracks in the ceiling, and all I can think about is how unfair it is. The doctor came today. Told me I could go home for a short stay. It's not that I'm getting better. It's just that this could be my last chance. Even so, I'm glad to be coming home. I missed you so much. But I'm afraid, James. I'm afraid you don't really want me to come home. Every time you come to see me, I can tell how hard it is on you. I don't know if you hate me or pity me. Maybe I just disgust you. I'm so sorry. When I first learned I was gonna die, I couldn't accept it. I was so angry. I struck out at everyone I loved. Especially you. And that's why I understand if you hate me. But I want you to know, I will always love you. Even though our life together had to end like this, I still wouldn't trade it for the world. Well, this letter has gone on too long, so I'll say goodbye. I told the nurse to give this to you after I'm gone. Which means that as you're reading this, I'm already dead. But that's okay. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I just hope the pain will end soon. So that you remember me for who I was. And not what the disease made me. I want you to go on. I want you to live. For yourself. And for others. Like you did for me. James. You made me happy.
Only way out. Reach the in-water ending. Puzzle standard, ending in water. 8 endings? It took me 17 hours to beat the game. Enemy skill 396. Killed by shooting 49. By fighting 347. Yeah, because it distinguishes favorite weapon steel pipe. Hell yeah. Number of shots fired 500. Wind destroy 125. Number of healing items 55. Times died 4. Fair. 618 dodges performed. You have gained a new game plus. Now you can play with access to additional items, graphic modes, and endings. If I'm gonna press a new okay, that's a new game plus. Choose the game. New game plus gives you access to additional items, graphic modes, and endings. Okay. What's the graphic mode? Okay, what kind of different 90s, Pixel 256, black and white, VHS, all CDR, outline, LUT, red dithering, default. Okay, let's see where we start in the new game plus, because I want to do like a review of things, and I want to see where we are starting. And we're gonna skip the cutscene, and yeah, we're pretty much starting where we have started the game, pretty much at the very beginning over here, which is understandable. Holy shit, Silent Hill 2 Remake. What an experience. What an experience. What an absolute treat it is to play this game. It is a very, very good game. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely amazing, I think. I don't know with what to start, honestly. I'm really happy that I finally managed to finish this game after 17 hours. And I need to like judge this game separately. I need to judge this game based on I need to judge this game separately by it being a survival horror in itself, as a game of itself, and a game that is a remake of Silent Hill 2, how it fares. So I'm still a little bit in an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. I do not know really what to think. I guess let's start with graphics. Graphically, this game is absolutely wonderful. Sure, there are some stutters now and there, but I don't think it's something that could not be fixed with a couple patches. I think it's definitely a workable. Gameplay is good. It's a little bit clunky during the combat, but it's definitely manageable. You can definitely learn it. The combat is nice. The fact that you can move and shoot is great. The fact that you don't have to basically go to the inventory and swap weapons, it's just pretty much a standard and should always be like this, and I'm really glad that you can just swap the weapons on the go with 1, 2, 3 buttons. I like the synergy with the melee, that basically a melee weapon is not only could be considered as a main weapon, but it's also a support weapon. I really like that enemies actually have sort of a weak spots that you can aim for the joints and knees and legs of the enemy, so we can stun them, so we can have an opportunity to execute the melee attack. It really gives you a lot of this game really gives you a lot of opportunities to basically concentrate more on melee attack rather than just constantly using weapons, because ammunition, as in all survival horror games, ammunition is always limited. When it comes to music. I'm glad that they actually have copied majority of the tracks from Silent Hill 2, and they decided to pretty much just change a few tracks, add some new tracks in the missing places. The music is great. I even have the soundtrack, bonus soundtrack myself because I pre-ordered that game. Boss fights. Majority of the boss fights is actually pretty damn good. Very, very good. I mean, the first pyramid boss fight was so good, and I liked it so much that I beaten it twice in the entire game. I beaten it twice. It was really, really nice. Then the fleshlight boss fight was actually pretty neat. Because it changed the entire fleshlight boss fight altogether. In classic Silent Hill 2, you had 3 creatures in total, all of them which are hanging to the ceiling, and they tried to grab you, and they tried to basically choke you out. While here you have a single fleshlight enemy that still plays with you a little bit of a ceiling game, a little bit of hide and seek and attack when he's the most exposed. But then he changes into that spider-like creature that basically you have to learn how to dodge the attack. It was basically fresh. It was basically very, very new, and it was very, very nice. Besides that, nothing really else about the flesh lips. Then you have what other boss fights there were in this game besides flesh lips? Because I'm trying to think now. I think the best boss fight in the entire game. I think the best boss fight in the entire game would go to the Abstract Daddy. Really, really great boss fight. They changed the entire thing again. Instead of just fighting in a small, tiny, concentrated room, like really, really compacted room, they made you fight in this labyrinth in which you also discover the backstory of a little bit of a backstory of Angela, kind of like with the flesh lips, because I think the flesh lips, that is my theory, but I think the flesh lips is basically one of the patients of the Brookhaven Hospital. That's what I believe. And yeah, I think the flesh lip was the fight that actually got me excited to go through and fight him. And it's a long boss fight, but I know I'm gonna be happy fighting that boss fight because it's just so nice. It's just so neat. Then you have a new boss fight that was actually a kind of a, wouldn't call it a recycled asset, because the humongous enemy, his first appearance was in Silent Hill 2. So they basically added him as a boss fight, but also as a relatively common enemy, because later you encounter him when you have to deal with not having any weapons, one person weight limit, kind of thing. And it was an okay boss fight, sure. He's kind of bullshit when it comes to him like hanging from the catwalks. He's kind of bullshit that way, because not only he can stun you, but also the tongue that he lunges out of himself can reach you really, really far and super fast, and you almost never can see it coming at all. What other? Eddie, I think. Oh yeah, Eddie. We definitely had an Eddie boss fight. That was actually before the homunculus. I think the Eddie boss fight is actually the worst in this game. The Eddie just moves too fast. He can hit you from absolutely out of nowhere twice in a row. It was not a boss fight that I genuinely would enjoy. I'm glad that this boss fight have stages, but I do not enjoy his boss fight at all. And then you have Maria, which Maria is basically her regular stage from the original Silent Hill 2 that later changes into an imitation of a flesh lip, which it's kind of sad when you think about it, because if you go with that direction, it just kind of feels like it's a lack of imagination that's getting in the way, which is kind of sad, because you could probably do Maria a little bit differently. I'm glad that she still has the butterflies. I'm glad that she uses the butterflies more as a distraction rather than the main source of her attacks. I did enjoy that, but her then turning into a fleshlight and becoming nothing else but the long-range fleshlight boss fight is just not really the greatest. And then you have the final pyramid head boss fight, which I think it is nice. I'm glad the pyramid heads not only waiting for you to get close, they're actually starting to throw their spears in a distance, and you have to figure out your own way to try to dodge them. And I think that, in my opinion, that's a pretty good way to do the boss fight without killing what the original was, which was basically ginormous room, running for the enemy, trying to fight the enemy at a distance. It was basically, I think, that was done properly. The enemies of the game, the basic enemies, were actually pretty nice as well. The lying figures were lying figures, though I really like the fact that they added a new variety of a lying figure, the one from the alternative reality, that if you kill it, its final line of defense is basically exploding into the pool of what you could call an acid. It's a pool of acid, and you basically need to kind of... I know that I have complained about the enemy earlier, but you basically need to kind of get used to the fact that this enemy will go Call of Duty second chance. He will try to explode, and he will try to hurt you with that. But you know, dodge mechanics, you can always dodge, you can always either run away from him or anything else. Then you have the mannequins, which I think the developers really like the mannequins a lot because they put an absolute extra attention to them. Mannequins can now bait you to follow them if you're already that murderous. They can hide in the corners. They can basically hide in places that are the least noticeable, so they can attack you. They can, later in the game when you are in the prison, they can climb on the walls to jump on you and attack you. They are basically the enemy that I think got the most attention out of all the enemies in the game, which... Do I think it's necessarily bad? No, not really. I don't think it's bad. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely great. It's absolutely fantastic. But I think every enemy deserves the same amount of attention, not just a single one. Then you have, of course, the classic, the nurses. My opinion stays the same. First of all, hot. Second of all, they kind of decide to keep what makes nurses the nurses. The cripple-like movement, the twitching of the head, the overall visuals. Like, they decided to keep what makes the nurses good and decided to improve on it, on not just attacking with a single attack, but they decided to give him a chain attacking, which I was not ready for. Like, I think I remember, I think on my first encounter with the nurses, I got totally wrecked. I think I got totally wrecked on my first encounter with the nurse, and I'm glad. I'm basically need to learn. I need to get used to the fact that the nurses have like chain attacks. But besides that, nurses are pretty fantastic. Were there any other enemies that I've forgotten about? I don't think so. I mean, nurses have the representative. Also in alternative universe, the moldy, like rotten, like nurse that have a scalpel, because the regular ones have a steel pipe, and yeah, that's pretty much when it comes to the enemies. Maybe now it will be a good moment because we still have a little bit of time. I'm trying to like get this review done in like one episode, in one video, instead of doing it in two, like kind of a review. It's pretty much a compilation of thoughts that I have about the game. When it comes to characters, okay, so we have a James over here. Let's go with James. I think I might say, I'm willing to say, that this James that we have in the remake might be a little bit better than the one that we had in Silent Hill 2 original. Because in Silent Hill 2 original, James was quite a bit of a dork, I think. He was very, very dorky. He was not questioning anything. If anything, he was just trying to stop somebody like an insecure, absolutely insecure person, while James over here tends to question things. He tends to ask questions. He tends to be defensive about himself. He tends to really defend himself in comparison to the original. I like the original. Don't get me wrong. I like the original and the way he's being acted and everything. But this James has actually impressed me, and I might actually start on the future playthroughs. I might actually be able to lean towards this one rather than the original one. I like this one. I really like this one though. Maria, I think Maria is a mess. Maria is kind of a mess. In original Silent Hill 2, Maria was that kind of like not only a seductress but also a mental manipulator. She was manipulative as hell. Maria pretty much in the remake doesn't manipulate at all. She's just there to be flirty and to show that there was a costume that she cannot use unless you have mods. And besides that, she's only there to just die a couple times because one of her more crucial scenes, the one that you have in Labyrinth, is getting absolutely ruined. Like this Maria, just to me, she just doesn't work. She just doesn't cooperate as well as the original one was. She just doesn't work for me that well. Then you have Laura, which I liked Laura in the motel. Her reaction in the motel actually seemed to be more or less genuine, while her acting in the hospital and calling, "Hey, fart face, fart face, fart face," it didn't impress me much. It actually kind of was one ginormous whatever, but I can understand what she was doing when she was doing. She's running away from the adult, which is exactly what the child would do in her position, in what the child should do in her position. Then we have, I'm leaving Angela for the last, because Angela actually brought a lot of controversy around herself, but I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later. We have Eddie. Eddie is a kind of a mixed bag, because Eddie in Silent Hill 2, in the classic Silent Hill 2, he's just it seems like he's a guy that just found a corpse and is puking all over, but then he goes to the Bolorama, he eats pizza, and he doesn't seem to be really that stricken with the comments of Laura that she says that big fatso like him will just slow her down and all of that. It was not visible that Eddie goes through much of a mental change until you find him in the prison when he says the famous word, "Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just point a gun to the head, pow." That's basically when you see in the original Silent Hill 2 that the mental change have been already starting in him and was deeply rooted, and it's all started to come out. When it comes to the remake, I think his mental anguish, his struggles were starting already popping out not really the moment. Yeah, actually the moment you do find him in the motel, when you just leave him alone, and I don't even remember what he said in the motel, but he definitely said something that made him very, very, very sad. I think it was something about leaving him behind. That's a one thing. The other thing is that then when we're making him in the cinema, when James points out that Eddie have regained his appetite, he noticed that he was actually devious, and Eddie already started to think that James have started making fun of him. But then again, Eddie in the remake is also more pathetic. He gives you that picture of not just a beast person, but also a very pathetic person, a really helpless person even. And then you meet him in the prison, in which his mental breakdown starts to unveil itself when he kills the person in the prison. But then he tries to justify it that he was just joking when James started prodding on him. investigating. Eddie did not know what to do. He was really willing to crack, and he thought that when he said that he was joking, that it actually saved his ass. He tried to cover the fact that he murdered people in the past, and he murdered people while he was in the prison too. And then you just find him full mental breakdown. You just kill him. I don't know what else to say about Eddie. Maybe the fact that the James does not point out at the very end of the boss fight that I killed a human being, which I think it's an element that was actually lacking. The Angela, I think both Angelas from the original and from the remake are good, but I think a better representation of a person that went through a bunch of physical abuse and mental abuse might actually go to the Angela from the remake. It's way more visible that she went through some really atrocious bullshit in her life. You can see her in her behavior, how she smacks her head. I hate to say that, but I can relate to that a lot. In the Angela's behavior, not necessarily the depression or suicidal attempts, though that did happen to me too. But yeah, let's just say that I can relate to her. That's all I can say. I can definitely understand what is going on in her head, and I know that I can say the same, that it's the feeling of inadequacy, that everything that you do is wrong, and Angela actually goes through that, and she shows that every single time that she does something, there's this mechanism in her head that makes her just try to hold it all inside, but she's like a walking fucking time bomb, and she cannot do that. I think the remake kind of did the better representation of a mentally distraught, mentally physically abused person in general. I really think that her sudden defending what she said in the cemetery, I'm not lying, I think it's actually a little bit better in here. Her mood swings not only in the motel, but also later when you get to meet her, to talk with her after the Abstract Daddy boss fight. It's a very good representation of the type of mentality that person like her could say. And you know what's fucking pisses me off is that everybody started picking Angela on how ugly she is, on whatnot. This game not supposed to have generally a handsome characters, a beautiful characters. It's a game about people dealing with the guilt, dealing with the struggles, dealing with the mental, dealing with what they did, and dealing with their past. Not about which one has the larger titties, and I fucking hate that a lot of people have jumped on that because they just do not understand what kind of game Silent Hill really is. And before we're gonna talk about it a little bit more, it's not about fucking trauma. It's Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill series are working in their own specific way. The way that trauma was abused in fucking Ascension, and was freaking ridiculous and should never be just a plain focus of the game. It's struggle of each character, and each character have different struggles. Eddie deals with constant pointing out and him not being able to look at himself and accept the consequences, or maybe try to do something about it. Angela cannot face the fact that her life and what she went through, it's not her fault, but her murdering of her parents, her brother, and now looking for her mother to probably commit the same is not the way to live her life. and James that constantly tried to deny the fact that it was him who ended the Mary's life, and he tried to, in a fit, not in even in the fit, but in due to result of a mental shock, he basically imagined in his head that Mary had died 3 years ago, which was not true because he murdered her himself relatively early before the James arrives to the Silent Hill. It's about that. It's about how different people see the different things, what they done, and what they need to do to improve themselves. In my case, my first ending was in water, so for me, James basically decided to just give up on himself. He decided to understood that he committed a horrendous thing, and he decided to basically end it all, which I do not support that, but that's his decision. That's how the game decided to paint it all, and that's all there is to it. And I hate how just some absolutely stupid people have tried to just point at Angela. Angela is not pretty. Angela is not this. Angela is not that. Like, people were try to point that Angela doesn't look beautiful during her mental breakdown scene. Like, how fucking stupid you have to be to have a philosophy of oh no, my character does not have a 7 orgasms. What she's getting reminded about how abusive her father is. You fucking moron. I'm sorry, but I'm absolutely livid with that, and I'm just never gonna really appreciate that. Hey, that boy. It's just this stupid, ridiculous mentality that I'm just never gonna understand. But then again, it's Twitter. Then again, later somebody have posted in a AI picture, because of course they cannot use anything on their own. They had the picture of Angela in absolutely the skimpiest sweater and suit that can ever imagine, and they called it, this is the point of attractiveness. Like, people like that, they're never gonna get the point. Like, they're absolutely never gonna get the point at all. Which, by the way, the story of the game, the story of the game actually holds pretty well. Like I said, the only things that are failing, in my opinion, is one of the major failures of this game is just Maria's scene, and with her behind the cage, in which she just says the line because she can says the line. The lighting doesn't work in that scene at all. But yeah, the story of the game is actually the way that the story is being like sent to you, presented to you, is, I think, is actually a little bit better. In original Silent Hill, the story was James arrived, gives you the full exposition, looking for a wife because she gave him a letter, but she died 3 years ago of a damn disease. And then you go. In this game is something different. You basically, you step out of the bathroom. The character James Remake acknowledges that the Mary sent him a letter to meet her in Silent Hill. Then you learn that she died 3 years ago. Then it's getting more exposition that she died of a certain disease. And you have this a little bit more slower exposition to the character and what have happened, but it's also kind of allows you to think a little bit differently. Like, how did a dead person, how did it 3 years ago, like, how much of a time span have passed, like, and then how the heck did the person that was already dead 3 years ago have ever managed to send the letter? And then you go through the game, you manage to like figure out more, that the Mary was already dead by the time he received the letter, and then you figure out in the motel that is you who did it. I think the exposition of the story is actually a little bit better over here. It just gives you smaller portions, but it gives it in a more meaningful way. I think the places are just, the fact that you can just explore more of a city is way better, because now we can actually enter to some of the locations, which was something that Silent Hill 2 original did not really got. I think the Silent Hill 2 original was bigger, but it didn't allow you to explore more of the inside of a city, to figure out a little bit about the lore of the city. In the remake, the streets and the streets and the buildings are a little bit more compacted together, but you have kind of more to explore from the inside, which I actually do approve of that. It's a good thing. It's a nice thing to see. Not that the original Silent Hill 2 was bad, because it wasn't. It was just very, very big. What else I could, I don't know, say about this game? I have really no idea. I really like this game. It is a good game. It definitely improves on the original Silent Hill 2 when it comes to the graphical presentation, minus the stutters and occasional game crash. It improves on the combat 100% of the time. It is kind of a mixed bag when it comes to the characters. It is really a mixed bag. I think the biggest improvements are on James and Angela, hands down, because Eddie... Eddie's kind of, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about Eddie. Maria is worse. I think the Maria is worse. She's just basically worse. And Laura is like 50-50. Her encounter in the hospital is worse when she calls you fartface 3 times. Like, okay, we acknowledge that you're a kid. But then her reaction in the motel is so much better. It's just so much better. I don't know what else to say. I would say that this game is definitely worth $60 right off the bat. It is definitely a very good experience. It is not something that should be avoided. But is it better than the original? Like I said, in some cases yes, in some cases no. But it's a game that is 100% worth grabbing. It's 100% worth getting. And it's just worth playing. At least give it a single playthrough. I'm definitely gonna give this game a several playthroughs, considering the fact that this game apparently has 8 endings. Which when you think about it, 8 endings. So okay, so we have already unlocked in water. We have Leave, Maria, Dog, UFO. That would be the classic 5 endings, right? Or 6. What could be the other 2? Like, what would be the other ending? What, you leave city with Angela? Okay, maybe I'm over exaggerating, because that's impossible. That is impossibility. But yeah, I really do not know what to think about this game. Definitely, the end of the game made me feel different. This game definitely made me feel different at the very end, especially when the James have realized that what he done, and then his fight with like the guild and trying to convince Angela, and then him understanding what Maria is. It's just all works good. It all works together. Developers have definitely done a good thing, but the problem is, it was not just the Bluebird team that have done this. Bluebird team was guided by the people who have done this game. The Bluebird team was guided by somebody, and that actually raises one question when it comes to me. What would happen with the Silent Hill 2 if Silent Hill 2 did not have a guidance of Akira Yamaoka and the other person that I just cannot remember his name right now? What kind of Silent Hill would get if you would not get it, if the game would not get a guidance of these 2 original people? How it would look, how different it would look. And honestly, I don't know. I'm honestly happy with what we got here with this game. It is a Knowing Life is October. It might actually be nominated for the Game of the Year. I would honestly, as a separate title, something that could not be compared with Silent Hill 2. Like, if we just eliminate for a moment Silent Hill 2 original, like put it on the side, we just have this game. I think it's definitely a good contender for a Game of the Year award. And yeah, that's it. I guess it definitely deserves a nomination. I don't know what else I could say about this game. I really do not know. I think only like the only weaker side would be the puzzles. Some puzzles are just weird, but only some. Not really all of them are just like awkward or weird or anything else. I don't know what else to say. I like this game. I'm definitely gonna add it to the list of the survival horror games that I'm always gonna play during the Halloween marathons, or just a game that I want to play on the side because I would like to simply enjoy it. I'm definitely gonna play this game more so I can post more endings for the game. I just need to figure out the stipulations for the endings because we already had in water. I would like for my second ending to be leave, but we're gonna see how it is. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this was rather the wrap up of my very first Silent Hill 2 playthrough. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. People of Twitch, we are still going to continue on with the stream. I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm probably going to play something else. But people of YouTube, hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you did, like, share, subscribe, ring a bell, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Links for everything in the description below in the pinned comment. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the future game.